Good morning.
What's up?
How are things going?
Good. How about you? I think I'm still in bed. Look
You
at that
feeling better?
smile. Look at that smile on a Saturday morning. Everybody's
Ol-
Oliver.
Oliver's happy.
Oliver,
Okay.
nice to meet you, Oliver.
Yes, indeed. Nice to meet you. I am
Hi.
happy, happy, happy. Yes.
Yes.
Well,
Um,
tell us why you're so happy with this coffee with Paul, Oliver.
because I listened to Paul, I listened to Peter, I listened to Jeff, and I've got a deal where um let's see, I'll have to see how many units it is. Let me look at it again, but it is 30. Let's see how many we're talking about. 38 units. And this is actually kind of a different one. It's an RV park slash cabin kind of situation. So we'll talk about that too. But I've got a PSA that is not signed yet, but we're in the process of looking at it and trying to consider options. So yes, I'm that
So that's
much
the one
further.
that you sent me yesterday, Oliver.
Yes, yes, that's the one. Yeah.
Um, you've run
Congratulations,
the
Paul, or
yeah,
Oliver.
Thank you.
congratulations. You've run the numbers on that, and you feel like it's a good deal?
Yeah, let me show you the numbers on it. In
Sure.
fact,
Yeah, go ahead.
Where is it at?
it's in Texas.
Oh,
For
yeah.
now until I get it signed up. I can't really say exactly where, but but in Texas. And so let's see, it's 38 units. And on average, if you take the monthly
Hmm.
and then divide by 38, you get that. And
So
then
is that an RV park?
it's a combination of RV park and cabins, mainly cabins. But there's
Oh,
five RV locations and then 33 cabins.
so
Okay.
more of the
Cabins.
recreational cabin type of thing. Okay.
This is actually located, let's see if I can, yeah, I'd have to wait later on when I'm not sharing my
Yeah,
screen
yeah.
to read
You
off.
want to make sure you get a PSA.
Yes, I want to, yeah, but basically it's like a temporary housing because they're close to two different factories or something like that in
I
that
got you.
area.
I got
And
you.
so
So
I assume that's
it's
it's a,
workforce housing.
yes, workforce housing, exactly. And so, yeah, and it's basically mobile homes that they're using to do that, and they call them cabins. But yeah, okay. And so let's see, we've got expense ratio is 5.55 or five
So
fifty one point.
and that's from their expenses, I assume.
Yes, yes, that's what I got. Correct.
So purchase price is 3.8
Hmm.
and
And
31% down payment.
then actually, you know what? I'm going to do this real quick just to kind of show, it's at 12.94. I was trying to not reveal the exciting thing yet, but
With the assignment fee. Yeah.
yeah, the assignment fee, and say, well, it's 12.94. How in the world could I make any money off of that? But yeah, you all see already or had seen. So the down payment is 1.2 million. We'll talk about that in a little bit because that is
Mm-hmm.
high.
Hmm.
And then owner finance 2.6, and then 3.63 is the interest rate.
Hmm.
5 years, $11,860 per month in payments. And then you can see that
12 grand of monthly cash flow.
mhm, that's right. And that's pretty good.
Yep.
And then as you can see, the balloon is 61. Um, and ultimately, when I'm wholesaling, I'll have,
Hmm.
uh, 12% cash on cash, and I'll have a $94,000.
And is this
Yep.
on or off market?
This is on market. So going to
And
Craigslist.
will the purchase price of this um is it listed at 3.8 or somewhere around
It's
there?
listed uh, at
Ballpark it.
higher. It's at
Yeah.
listed at yeah. It's listed much higher
Okay,
than
perfect. So you negotiate a slightly lower sales price, which gives
Mhm.
you room to put your assignment fee without making people feel like they're not getting a deal.
Correct. Correct.
Perfect. So the only challenge that I see here is the size of the down payment.
Yes.
Uh,
And I'll need to ask them, hey, why do you need that much? I talked to some buddies of mine, my investors, you know, and
Yeah.
we're kind of curious. Is there a way that we can make it just, you know, some combination of mortgage wrap, maybe, like what I heard from David at one time earlier yesterday, right?
uh-huh. Is
And
this is it free and clear now?
I'll find out. It might just be free and clear. You know, that might be why they're doing this and moving on to something else. I think that's what it is, honestly. I think it
Okay.
is.
Yeah. Okay. But
How
so
hard is
let's
it to find 1.2 million?
that's the question. Yep. That's the question. Is and the more down payment you have to come up with, the harder it is to wholesale it. I mean, it's just a fact.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean it can't be done, especially if you have a pretty reasonable time period on your assignment. Oh, and there's one thing I would change about the PSA that you sent me and that I would consider non-negotiable is I would just say I will not sign anything that says specific performance.
Okay.
Do you know
So
what I mean by that?
yeah, remove specific. And what is specific performance, by the way?
Yeah. So in a contract, if you put a property under contract, you put your earnest money down, and for whatever reason, as a buyer, you don't perform. If the contract says the seller has or the buyer has the right um, to specific performance, it means that the other party can sue you and make you perform. And so my stance as a buyer is I will put earnest money down and I will even let that earnest money at a certain point go hard, non-refundable.
Mhm.
But at some point, if I decide to bail because I found out bad information or something happened to me in my life, or I just couldn't find a buyer or whatever stuff happens, right? I couldn't raise the money fast enough, whatever. Then I'll say I'm out, I'm canceling the contract, and I lose my earnest money deposit, which sucks.
Mhm.
Um, but they cannot legally sue me for making me buy the property anyway.
Mhm.
Now they can still sue me, but the contract isn't written in their favor anymore. The favor says, or the contract does not say the buyer or the seller has the right to sell the buyer or to sue the buyer for a specific performance, which means I am going to make you buy the property anyway, whether you like it or not. The contract says what it says, and I have the right to make you perform. And I will just simply not sign a contract that ever says that.
Excellent. Thank you for letting me know about that.
What was that called
So-
again?
A specific performance.
Okay.
Hey, Oliver. Oh, Michael's got his hand raised, but I got a question as well.
Okay, go for it. If it's concerning this, because I still have a few questions.
No, it's
Concerning it too.
concerning this.
Okay, what is that?
All right. If you're going to wholesale, you look down here on cash on cash. If I read that right, is that 12%?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. I was under the understanding, because this is where my dilemma is trying to make all these numbers match up, you know, to something over here on the right-hand column. But I was on the understanding you try to get close to 15% so that gives you the margin when you do.
Excellent question. Excellent question. Okay. So at first, I was trying to go for that, and I made some offers. They countered, and then we came up with numbers that at first they were saying 5%, okay, instead of
Yeah.
3.63. And
Yeah.
they were saying, you know, 1.2. And I said, well, I can either do 1.2 with a lower interest rate. And then I saw how it started to creep up, you know. And when I also saw that I could put in a wholesaling fee of about $94,000, I was like, that's a sweet spot right there, you know, where I can squeak out an assignment fee.
Yep.
And with the assignment fee gone, it is actually in this case 12.94. So it depends on how much you're looking for. And Paul can talk more about this, right? Because I'll say anybody who's dialing in, I know everything about commercial real estate because of what Paul has taught me. Okay. So keep that in mind that if you want to, this is a straight out advertisement. If you want to be part of the paid group like I am, you will get results if you put in the effort and get a PSA, right? And also work towards closing. So yeah, but Stephen, did that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, it did. I mean, it's quite a challenge to go through. I mean, you spend a little time on it trying to make these numbers work over here on the right because, I mean, I've been in there where I've gotten 15, 16% cash on cash, and then I look up here and my DSR's off or some, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, you're juggling numbers like crazy, and I
Yeah.
haven't put, I'm still working on it, but I haven't put the correlation over here on the left-hand side of what equates to these bottom numbers down here. In other
Mhm.
words, if you change your down payment, how does that affect down there? And I keep going back and forth and back and forth, but I mean, Paul, you did caveat it that, hey, this is a work in progress, that you got to kind of work these numbers and just keep
Yeah.
working them until it
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
You
For
got to
sure.
know that the length of the until your balloon payment is going to be lengthened if you want to drop your balloon payment, right? If you're having problems where everything looks good, but your balloon payment looks bad, probably one of the options is lengthening the number of years, increasing the number of years. Is that about right, Paul?
Yep.
Okay, so increasing the years has a lot to do with the DS, whatever.
No. Now here,
no.
no, I'm talking about the LTV ratio, right?
Oh, the LTV, sorry, yep.
Because what I'll do is I'll put in, a certain, I'll try and work towards a certain cash flow per
Yes.
door, making
Yep.
sure it's 150 or higher. And if
Yep.
I start to see that the cash flow is looking good and I don't see the cash on cash I'm looking for, I would increase the cash flow per door in some form or fashion, right? Figure out how to do that until eventually I see 15%. And then at that point, then start looking at the number of years that you need in order to get your LTV, right? You could even
Okay.
shorten it up. You could
So
say,
I can show you a little trick.
yeah, go ahead.
On the DSCR green button, the 2.09. Oliver,
Yeah.
if you click on the line 29, the DSCR.
Line 29, got it. Okay, right there.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Double click on that.
Okay.
You see what it does there, guys?
It highlights what it's affecting or what it's being affected by, that is. I'm sorry,
Correct.
what's being affected
Correct.
by.
Oh, up here in the column,
Yeah.
up above.
And this
Right.
is something that Jeff talks about all the time, and Paul too, is that the NOI, or in other words, your net operating income minus your annual debt service, then leaves you with whatever
Your
is
cash flow.
your cash flow, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So if
why
you're
that's
if you're trying to get the debt service to work, just double click on that again.
yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Double click. So the NOI is like the big number, right? The NOI is not something you can change. The NOI is the NOI.
Yeah.
Like we know what the income is. We've made educated estimates on what the expenses are. That is the NOI that you're buying. So now how much do I have to borrow to pay for that? Okay, I'm having to make an annual payment of 142, which is a function of the monthly payment, obviously.
Yeah.
So if I want to change the DSCR, then I need to change my monthly payment.
Oh, okay, I got you now. All right, so that actually tells you what columns are affecting.
Right.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
now
okay.
now go click on the monthly free cash flow.
Monthly free cash flow, which is going to be down
Yep.
here somewhere. isn't it?
Yep. Double click
there
on
it is.
that. Double click on that. There's your variables.
Oh, okay. Oh, God. All right, now we're
Right.
making some sense. All
Yeah.
right.
That's how you back into these numbers. Okay, now let's look at cash on cash return. Like what's going to affect that?
You have to
A lot
look at
of-
all the different
Yeah,
values.
a lot of things, right? The NOI, the
Yeah.
purchase price,
Yeah.
the wholesale fee. It's like all the money that has to come out of your pocket, right? So if the money that comes out of your pocket is too much, then your cash on cash return is not going to be
Okay, gotcha.
good,
No, that
right?
makes
So
sense.
so that kind of helps you back into what numbers do I need to tweak to get the results I want. And let me also make one last statement, then we'll move on. When you're trying to if your goal is to wholesale, you are intentionally targeting a 15% cash on cash return so that it gives you room to assign or gives you room to raise capital. Okay. So when you find a property, like in his case, this is perfect. You can unclick that now.
Yep.
And take off your assignment fee for a second.
Yep. I will do that. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. He's going to
That
toggle
was
that
my
off.
next question. Yeah.
Yep. So he only got 12.49, and it's like this little red number. It's like, ooh, like it's not meeting the criteria. Well, this is a big deal. This is a $3.8 million deal. So if you're looking for a $300,000 or $400,000 assignment fee, you're not going to be able to do that with a 12% cash for cash return. But a $75,000 assignment fee might be able to work. Like, would you assign this and make $75,000 somebody? Like, like would anybody be down for that?
Yeah.
If you are, then $75,000 is good enough for this deal. And so 12.49 gives you just enough wiggle room to get you that, $75 to $100,000 assignment fee.
Okay. Gotcha.
And
All
so what he's going to do when he gets this under contract, he's going to probably market this for $4 million with a $200,000 assignment fee and then give himself room to negotiate down to that $100,000.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
And I heard that, by the way. Thank you.
Because if you put in there a 3.9 purchase price, or actually what I would do is I would mark it as a 3.95 purchase price. And so you can make 195,000. So once you put that, put 195 in there as your assignment fee.
Good. I'll do that right now.
Yeah. Let's just see. It's probably gonna be 11. It's gonna be 11%. Oops, you missed your decimal.
Well, yeah, I was going back to my
195.
previous value, but
Yeah. There we go. So 11%. If I so Kathy's on here. She's in the market to buy, and she might be a potential buyer for this. If somebody did all the work to negotiate this and they gave you a owner financing deal where you're making $12,000 a month and 11% cash on cash return, would you at least consider it?
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and Kathy, any answer you say is fine. I'm just curious. You're a potential buyer. What? And by the way, you haven't heard everything else, right? Like I just brought this listing to you and say, hey, I have this RV park campground thing that's in Texas, and this is a potential thing. What goes through your mind? What questions come to your mind about the investment?
Oh, I mean, I currently may only have 3 million. So if it's 4 million, then I have to find financing for the 1 million. Oh, questions.
Okay, but wait. In this case, your purchase price, the cash that you got to come up with is 1.4.
yeah,
Oh.
because it's a down payment of 1.2 and then some other
Okay,
things
so
that are going.
Kathy, if I had a deal where you had to come to the table with about $1.5 million and we had the financing in place for you with the seller financing in place, that would be for 5 years, and you would make a 11% return when you did so, and you would be getting a $12,000 check every single month. Would that be something you'd be open to considering?
Possibly.
Yeah. And again, I'm not trying I'm not twisting your arm here. I'm just you're an actual potential buyer for this property, and I just want to I want everybody else to hear what's going to go through your mind. So whatever's on your mind, share it with us.
Might want to lower the purchase price. I'll negotiate that.
Okay, why? What is your reason for that? What do you want as with a lower purchase price? Do you want a better return? Do you want more cash on cash return? Do you want more monthly return? What's important to you?
More monthly return.
So you want a return of 12%, 13%, 18%? Like what's your criteria?
16%.
So when you're looking to buy a property, you want to make at least 16% cash on cash return, even if somebody else brings you the underlying financing that you don't have to qualify for.
Well, not in that case.
So what's more important? Yeah. So what's more important to you? having somebody bring you a property spoon fed to you that they wouldn't do it, or do you want the highest return? Any answer is fine. I'm just trying to prioritize what's most important to you.
The second choice, spoon-fed the property.
So would you be happy with a spoon-fed deal that has management in place, has monthly cash flow of $12,000 to $13,000, and the pro forma expectation is that you'd be able to make an 11% return on your money and allow you to perform your 1031 exchange without having to stress anymore?
Possibly.
Yeah. So I'm not trying to convince you, by the way. I'm just trying to demonstrate a principle here. Thank you for playing along with me.
Yeah.
Did you see
And
what I just did there,
possibly-
guys? No,
Yeah.
this is really, really, really important. Did you?
And
She said
possibly it'd be a good idea if we got together and talked about this after I got.
afterwards. Why don't y'all talk shop?
What do you think? Yes.
Yeah, afterwards, why don't y'all talk shop? Because here's what Oliver can do. He can say, "Hey, if you want this property, Kathy,
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to put it under contract, and I've done all negotiations. Is it okay if I make money doing so?" And if she's like, "Well, I don't mind if you make money. I have capital to deploy, then, but I just want it to be a win-win." Okay, great. So you're okay with me making money. So now let's talk shop and figure out how it works for us. Okay. And so notice what I did when I was talking to Kathy. She said, "Oh, I want a 16% cash on cash return." I did not say that's dumb. I did not say that's smart. I just said, okay, great. Your priority is getting a 16% cash on cash return. Is that more important to you than this other alternative?
Hmm.
Like, I didn't argue with her. I just asked, what's your priority? And I was like, oh, you're going to give me the financing? Like, so I don't have to go and get financing myself? Oh, that changes it. Maybe I'd be willing to accept a little bit lower cash on cash return if you just spoon fed it to me.
Mhm.
Not everybody would say that. Some people might say, no, I don't care about the financing. I get financing wherever I want. It doesn't matter. So you don't know what the other person's priority is. And a lot of times they don't know what their priority is too, because they don't know the whole picture. And so
Right.
you help them share the whole picture, and you just try and see if you can align your interests. And
Mhm.
hopefully for you guys, hopefully we can. But it may not make sense for Kathy. No hard feelings. Just go find somebody else who it does make sense for.
Right. But these are the discussions you'll have with the wholesaler that you're
Yeah,
talking.
you
Right.
just saw the way I would handle that if I was
Oh, no,
talking
that's-
to Kathy
Mhm.
Love it.
individually, right?
There's a lot of give and take. Yeah, I think so.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean that you're like, oh, so you're not, so if it's not 15% or you won't even consider it, even if we had the financing in place for you. Oh, well, no, if you had the financing in place, okay, and you spoon fed me the deal, and you made my 1031 exchange possible, okay, I would be able to concede a little bit. I'd be flexible with the cash on cash return.
Yeah, perfect.
I've got some questions concerning the contract that hopefully we can quickly go through.
Yeah,
Is that
let's
okay?
Let's go.
All right. So when I was reading through it, it didn't seem very obvious whether it could be assigned or not, this contract.
Yeah, the way I read it is that it did not say it could not be assigned.
Got it. Okay. So that means that probably so, right? Or yes, it can be assigned.
Yeah, there's nothing that says it can't be.
Whose contract are you using, Oliver?
It's the
Marcus
brokers.
Millicamp.
Yeah, it's the brokers.
Yeah, Millicamp. Champ. Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
I'm mispronouncing it, but the broker. Yes.
Marcus and Millichamp.
Yes.
Did
Thank
they-
you.
Did they request that, or is that something that you control? I always try to control that myself.
Well, he
With-
kind of
With
took
a
the
broker,
reins
it's
on
tough. Yeah, with his broker, it's tough. Like they
Oh, okay.
don't like using other people's paperwork.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
because they're used to it, and yeah,
Well,
earnest money.
Go
Go ahead.
they just may not let you. Like, I mean, like they'll just say we have a listing and they have a listing agreement, and our policy is that we must use our paperwork, and
Okay,
it's just not a conversation. Yeah.
okay, gotcha. That's good to know.
Next question I've got is earnest money deposit. It says within 2 business days.
Yep.
Should I say lengthen that?
No, unless that's actually a problem for you, then I wouldn't. If you are able to bring the earnest money yourself, I would not negotiate that. I would negotiate another point that's more important to you.
And just to let you know, the reason what's going on here, which is unusual too, right? I'm getting squeezed into something where it's you know, it's not horrible, but here's what happened to everybody. Normally we look for 85 days for due diligence, right? In this case, they're like, we don't like that. We've seen situations where we had wholesalers come in and they just mess around, nothing happens, and then the deal just falls apart. And 85 days is way too long for us to wait.
Yep. Yep.
So if you're looking to do that, you need to be serious. And they said after 45 days, we can put in another earnest money besides the normal 1%, 4%. He added in the 20,000
20
at
grand.
45 days to lengthen it. That's the reason behind that. What's your thought about that, sir?
I'm okay with it. I think you've negotiated a strong deal. Like I don't know that much about the asset itself, so I would, when you get this under contract and you send your earnest money deposit within 2 days, like the day after, I would be at this property looking at it myself, taking pictures and just getting a sense of is this really I would be doing due diligence really heavy, really fast.
Okay.
And then if it's a bust, you're like, hey, like this property's like in the ghetto, or there's just something about this that I didn't know without seeing it, then we can readdress and tell them that up front end is like during the 45 days, I'm going to look for all the skeletons. Every property has skeletons. If you're fully disclosing everything to me with the financials and the financials are accurate and you can prove it to me, then we're not gonna have a problem. But I'm going to go and do diligence, and because I'm about to make a big investment. This is like a life-changing money deal for me, and
It is.
and I can't mess this up. Like I cannot be wrong. So I will make sure I'm going to uncover everything, and you guys got to roll the punches with me.
This is this is like for payments of how much cash is coming in. If you didn't include the debt service that needs to be done, it's basically the level of getting. Well, actually, no. Hold
This
on a
could
second.
replace your day job.
This could replace your income. Yeah, if somebody had 1.2, it would replace their income. Period. End of story.
Yep.
Okay. Next thing I've got is UCC search. I'm assuming because it's probably outside of a city, that they're probably not going to do a universal, or what does it say?
Universal
says,
code. No, the UCC is just yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get stressed about that. The UCC is just they're going to do a search to make sure that the entity that you're buying it from, like doesn't have a lawsuit against it or doesn't have a lien against it or something.
It's a uniform commercial code, is what that is.
Yeah.
And then,
so you know how you get a lien against your personal property, you can get a lien against your business name with a UCC code. That's all it is.
Yeah, that he put out there as if to say, well, even push back on it, right? He said, I've got $1,000 that's going to go hard one way or the other, right?
Yeah, that's a Texas thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and good enough. I mean, you don't think it's too bad, $1,000, right?
I mean, I would preferably get that lower, but that's kind of your call.
Yeah. What would you shoot for? Probably 500 or something like that, or what do you think?
Like $100.
$100? Okay.
Yeah, you could be outright lying to me, and you're just taking $1,000 from me.
I see what you're saying.
But,
I see what you're saying.
But make sure you're negotiating on what you care about. If the $1,000 is going to make or break your life, then negotiate really hard. If the $1,000 one way or the other is worth the experience, then just do the $1,000.
Yeah, I got you. And yeah, that number 13 default clause number 13 or paragraph 13. If buyer fails to comply, right, then the interest money. So complying would be. Is that the
that's the specific
part you were talking about? Yep. So this is the big one right here. 13. It's like
yeah,
big.
I mean, it needs to be fair. I mean, I'm fine for a document to be fair. I just simply and I would even say I don't want specific performance against the seller. Like I'm not going to sue him and make him sell me the property.
Yes.
Like that's not the way we're going to play here.
But it's that clause or paragraph 13 that you're talking about is
I mean, it just needs to be reworded. That's all. Or you can do an addendum that says the addendum to addends paragraphs 13 that says a buyer or seller does not have specific performance against one another. The buyer, if the buyer does not default, then the sole remedy is the earnest money deposit.
All right.
So
I'll-
that's why I might not negotiate that $1,000 too hard. Like you're getting $1,000 from me one way or the other, right? And a whole bunch of my time, and so and then I'm going to do earnest money that goes hard in 45 days, and if I extend, I'm going to do 20 grand.
And
like
the idea is that it'll be not the 11,000, but it'll be 20,000 only that goes hard until due diligence is done.
That's right. That's right.
Just to let you know. And so because at first he thought, oh, the 11, when I was talking to the broker, he's like, oh, the 11,000 is going to go hard too. I was like, no. Right. And
Yep.
so, but yeah, there's also, since this is assignable, it'll be whoever is assigned to is going to provide the personal guarantee to the note, correct?
Yes, I would I would actually negotiate that point. I was like, I am not going to personally guarantee this because your property is what's going to guarantee this, and I want to make sure that you have every reason to sell me a property that works. And so if it doesn't work, your sole remedy is to foreclose on the property, not go after me personally.
Gotcha. All right, let me see if there's anything else. I think that is pretty much it that I've got. Excellent stuff, Paul. Thank you. As always, thank you so much
You bet.
for your help on this.
You bet.
And
We have several questions lined up here.
Yes,
so
please, go.
Michael, what's up?
So this is a new calculator for me. I'm not used to working with the cash on cash return. I certainly can see how it's valuable. I was taught that when I throw this in our calculator, it's just a simple NOI and figure out cap rates. And looking at the purchase price and the NOI on this thing, it's like a 7.8 cap rate.
Yep.
For a wholesale deal, obviously depending on where and what it is, it's going to vary somewhere between, 8 and 10% to the end buyer. We're going to probably try to get this thing no less than 10, 12%. So, I mean, this thing, what you were saying about wholesaling and having to get the cash on cash return up. I mean, to me, if I brought this to my team, they wouldn't even take a look at it.
Well, then
they would say you need to buy this at 2.7.
For cash, I agree, but not with owner financing.
Right.
Yeah. If I were to take this to a cash out situation, I would have the same opinion.
Yeah, because then it gives us the cash on cash.
Because what are you buying here? Like, always think about when you're buying something, what are you buying? You're buying a business to run that creates cash flow, period.
Right.
That's all we care about. That is the fundamentals of buying real estate. It is to buy income producing cash flowing properties, right? And so we've negotiated terms that are more important. So I'm gonna go back to that extreme example. I could buy this for $10 million and it would be a 1 cap or a negative cap. Right. By the definition of somebody else. But if my payment terms are like, I have $24,000 a month in net income to this property. If my payment is $1,000 a month for the end of time, would you do that deal?
This cash on cash return, does that reflect a cash price or a seller finance price?
Seller finance. Can you share that screen again?
Absolutely. Let me get going here.
This is a really important lesson for everybody here. This is like incredible. I mean, because this is why owner financing is the strategy right now. This is the perfect use case. Michael's position that if you're going to cash somebody out, that you should only be buying it for 2.7 is correct. If you're going to cash somebody out, who's going to sell that property for 2.7 these days? Very, very few sellers are going to do that. They just can't get their head around it. The cost of money is too high right now. So now we've negotiated our cost of money to be 3.63%. Okay. So now let's go back to an extreme example. I would buy this property at $10 million if my payments per month was $1,000 a month. I mean, go ahead, put it in there. $10 million.
That's right. Nope, that's not the right number.
Do
No,
one
that's
more
1
zero.
million.
Yeah, one more zero.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
on the payment, put $1,000. Okay. Uh,
Okay.
and then on the years, put 100.
Okay, yep, 100 years. That's right.
Boom.
Oh, no, let's see. Hold on. Let me do. Yep, there you go.
There you go.
And then also, let's see. Yeah, it's still LTV, but but after 100 years, you know what's going to happen? The value is going to change, right, of the property.
Right.
And then also, let's see, cash on cash. Okay, let's do 0, just out of curiosity.
Yeah. That's not gonna make
Okay.
any difference, right?
No.
Would you do that deal? Would you buy a property that made you $12,000 a month, or in this case, $23,000 a month, and right?
Yes, and twice on Sunday.
Okay, and actually change the down payment to change the down payment to 0. That's the big distinction.
That's right. Right, and that'll change the cash on cash.
Yeah, or
Ooh,
let's
it goes
let's make it
infinite.
I don't know, let's because it's 0.
Yeah.
Let's make it $1.
One.
Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like silly.
1%,
Yeah.
100,000, right? And it's
Right.
now cash on cash of 285%.
It's an extreme stupid example, but I'm illustrating a point that the terms are more important than the payment. I'm sorry, the terms are more important than the purchase price. The purchase price is the least important variable for owner financing, provided that when your balloon pops, you're not underwater.
If you present this to the seller and or broker, and you're throwing out a cash price and you're throwing out a seller finance price,
Yep.
it seems to me that if you explain to the seller what their cash on cash return, like this calculator shows,
Yeah.
might open up a whole lot more thought process.
I agree. But sellers want what sellers want, right? I mean, sellers want to be out of, they're selling for a reason. They don't want to manage it anymore and they want some of their cash.
Like I have
Most,
a case now, and this woman's just got this ridiculous amount in her head, and the broker's not trying to talk any reality to her.
well, and here's what we do is we do the bank test. And so tab 2,
Right.
you can go to the bank test, and then what you do is you say, if I go borrow money from a bank right now, and I put in those same numbers, then you would find that it would be negative. So I think we have time for this.
So 38 and 13 4. Okay, so it's going to be 13 4 6, and then 38.
Yeah.
38.
And they want
And then-
$4 million for it.
I know it's a
51.5.
51.5.
Yeah.
And
And
then
so the 4 million.
3.8. Oh yeah, 4 million.
Put 4 million just to say that's probably what they want, right? Okay, so this seller wants to sell this 38 unit place for $4 million bucks. The going market rate right now is that you have to get a 30% down payment, and you have to put in typically right now your loan interest rate is about 7%. So if I buy this property using bank financing, I'm gonna make 3% cash on cash return, and my DSCR is below what the bank would even let me. So I have no interest in putting $1.2 million for the privilege of making 3% return.
Then you say 3.9, right? You keep on dropping it.
Yeah,
Well,
and so your case, you like go back to the 2.7 offer that he was going to say.
So 2.7. So
Yeah,
2.7.
yeah. There's that 15% number he's talking about.
Mhm.
That's really hard for a seller to stomach. They just can't take it.
Right.
Like they're just like, I won't do it, right? And so I would say, okay, well, I'll give you close to your sales price. Like you want 4 million, I'll give you 3.8, and I'll give you in this case a 30% down payment, which is kind of high. But
It
we'll
is.
change the financing terms to make it sense. So you can put it back to the real numbers of 3.8.
See if I can get to it.
No, I'm sorry, on the owner financing side.
Yeah,
Just-
I'm doing the backup part of things. Yep. Looks like that might. Nope. Let me keep on going.
Your purchase price, you change it to 3.8.
And then yeah, let's see. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah, no, 95 is fine. So there's our number. So that's the deal that he's negotiated. Like right now, he's a PSA like in place for him to buy. Like he can sign it right now and get these terms right now. Like
And the main
he's like,
thing I need to be concerned about is going to be that
it's just kind of like the
physical
finer
forms.
the finer details of the contract. The details of the purchase and the terms have been agreed to. Now we're just trying to understand the due diligence right now. Okay, so that was a long answer, but I think it's a really important lesson for everybody. Raymond, you got a question?
You're
Yeah.
just saying the deal works at 3.8.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's a different property, but whenever you guys are ready, I'd
Okay.
like to.
Great. We can switch to your property. Let's see who else. Harvey or Lindsay, did y'all have questions about this property or you on your own stuff? And either way is fine. I just want to make sure and address
Actually,
everything.
I had a question on this. I was like a minute or two late. Forgive me. What does PSA stand again? Something sales agreement? What does it stand?
Purchase and
Purchase,
sales
sale.
agreement.
Agreement. Yes, purchase
Okay,
and sales
sorry, I
agreement.
didn't know what the acronym was. Sorry.
So you'll hear us say contract, agreement, PSA. They're all the same thing. The paperwork, like I'm like we should always use the same thing every time, but we're lazy. We're lazy humans. Anybody else tactical question about what we were talking about in on this example, which is a great use case, Oliver. Congratulations.
I got a question, but it ain't about this property.
Okay. Well, in that case, we'll jump over to Raymond's situation. And Oliver, you have everything you need, right?
Yes, I've got everything. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You bet. You
Good
bet.
job, Oliver. Good job.
Go ahead, Raymond.
Yeah, well, obviously, I'm new, and so this is I've been looking at some property, and I found one, and it seemed to pass through all the tests that I've done. But maybe there's something I'm kind of missing, and so I kind of wanted to go run through the numbers with you guys to
Sure.
see if maybe I'm
Sure. Do you have the numbers ready for us to run through?
Yeah. I got them.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll share my screen.
So I looked at the 1% rule that you talked about, and it seemed to pass that one good. And even the bank test looked good. And so I was like, there must be something I'm missing. So
okay. Tell me the facts. What's the number of units?
it's 48 units. One thing about the units that I need to ask them about is that one of the units is being used as a coin laundry thing. So I don't know if that's included as part of the 48 or if it's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the average rent per unit?
It's $864.
$864. And does the $864 factor in a vacancy or not?
I don't know that. So
okay, we'll assume it doesn't. And where is this?
It's in the south. It's listed, so I don't want to be too obvious, clear. But yeah, it's in the south.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out like neighborhood and like I'm trying to figure out the expense ratio.
The expense ratio?
Yeah, it's in the south. Got it. Which is fine. I'm not trying to give away your deal.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out if the 45 expense ratio would weigh. And this is multifamily, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would use 45%. I'm coming up with an annual NOI of 260 and 21.6 for the month per month. Does that seem consistent with information that I've given you?
So what they said so this is why I'm kind of concerned, or at least kind of questioning.
Yeah.
So they said the NOI was 301.
Yep. So they're probably assuming something more like a 40% expense ratio, or even a 35% expense ratio.
Yeah. When I did the calculation on that, I found a 39%.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So okay, perfect. So if we put 39 here, then that's pretty close to what they came up with. Oh, and they're probably not counting any vacancy. That's so 303, right?
Yeah, they said so. Their vacancy, they said they had 5% vacancy.
Okay, so this
Or 90,
64 number
yeah,
here
90,
then factors it in.
97% or something like that. Yeah. So it
Yeah,
might,
which is fine.
Yeah.
So this 864 number factors in their vacancy.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a yes or no?
Hope so. I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what they said that their average average month.
And there are places in the South, like I live in Arkansas, and you can run an apartment complex at 40% in Arkansas, for sure, because our taxes are low. So let's just use their numbers for a second just to prove our case. And what's their purchase price? Ballpark it if you don't want to give it away.
2.9.
2.9?
Yeah, million.
What is 2.9 divided by 48? 60,000. So
Yeah, that's what they
60,000.
said. Yeah.
Okay, so 60,000 and 864. I can see very quickly that that passes the 1% rule, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is Class C, low class property, probably is what I'm guessing.
They said it was a class B, so maybe it's class B and for the neighborhood.
What I would do is check the crime rate. So you have the zip code, go to crime rates by zip code website, and you'll know pretty quickly if it's a war zone or not.
Would you ever buy from an area that's in a war zone and wholesale it?
If I knew I had buyers, sure. Okay. So for the bank desk, it's going to be about 7%. So yeah, like this is a listed property that checks out, like by the listed amount. I think their expense ratio is a bit low. I mean, I would be a little more aggressive and do 45. Even still, like there are lots of people who will buy a property with a 10, 11% cash flow, cash on cash return.
I'm seeing 2.7 million, just to let you know, 2.710.
Is what gets you the cash on cash return?
Yeah,
Of
and
15?
cash on cash is going to be 15%, and then cash flow, well, 15.03 is what I've got right here, but cash flow is going to be $212.21.
Okay. So Raymond, your numbers check out based on what I've seen as well. I would want to know a lot more about this property because something's up. Like this is either the best that you should put it under contract right away or something's up.
Yeah. So when I looked at it, it looks like it's been listed for like almost 2 years. So
there's something's up.
Something's up.
Did they just lower the price?
You know what? It's the last time it's been updated. It was like a couple months ago, almost 3 months ago.
So have you talked to the broker?
I haven't.
Okay.
So what they say is that it's close to a hospital and it's that it has a potential to increase rent and and that they have very low amount of rentals in the area, so it's stable as far as being able to rent.
This isn't a war zone. There's just no other way around it. Something's
I'll
up.
have to look at the area then. Okay.
Yeah, look at the area. But I would also call and say, why hasn't this sold? Like, what's going on? Like, I see that I could get probably pretty close to this, but I'm concerned that it's in a rough area. And what do you have to tell me? Now they'll probably lie to you or tell you they'll spin doctor it somehow. And it's like, have you had anybody else put it under contract? Would the seller entertain owner financing? Like I would go through we do the thing where we do our training, which you may not have seen yet, Raymond. But have you seen our 1 of 3 ways training?
Yeah, I saw you have the different options for seller financing, and I don't know if
but have you watched our script? Yeah, we have a very specific script. So for everybody's watching, you have to watch this video. Why won't it go away? Okay, maybe over here. So if you're in the commercial Deal Finder School, go to the classroom. The meat of everything is in the fast track to your first commercial deal course. And this, I'm going to put it in the chat for everybody. This under step 2, calling brokers, training. Everyone in the meeting, boom. Watch that training. If you haven't watched it or you haven't watched it recently, go back and watch it again. Because you see how I and how Jeff would call brokers and how we would approach the conversation. And then we give you a script afterwards of how to do it.
Okay. I have
Go ahead.
I have a question about how to make that offer. Obviously, that's kind of like the script, I guess. With this one, since it's on market, and so they have like already a price set, it already seems like a good deal with what they have on market. So I would be asking for something less than that as well, because
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. I kind of like the 2.7 idea. 2.7 that he came up with. Right. Or I would be making an owner financing offer on this one for sure. Just to see, like,
Yeah.
if we make it work.
And Paul, you mind if I give him suggestions on numbers, and then he
Sure.
can work it out from that?
Yeah.
So what we're looking at for an offer price for, for Triple Play Pro, there's the second option. We're talking about 2.879 for the offer price, and then 2.5% is the interest rate. It'll be a 5-year balloon, and you'll have approximately, on my side at least, 59% LTV at the balloon. It'll be approximately 2.4 for the balloon. They'll get a net of about 3.2 million. What else have I left out? Payments per month is going to be $10,810. Okay. I'm throwing this all at you pretty fast,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
can
Well,
also,
I think
I'm writing it down. I'm
Yeah,
writing it down.
it might be easier to do it
Yeah.
like this.
should I share?
I
I can share.
Well, no, hang tight. I'm sharing my screen and I'm just putting the numbers that you put in there.
Perfect. And then you do a screenshot. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. What else have I left off that I need to put in?
Was it 5 years or 10 years?
5 years balloon?
Yeah, I would make your first offer at 10 years.
Okay, that works.
And the
It
reason I
just
say
works.
that is I want to negotiate it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. But this works very well. You could do 10 years, and the balloon will be, you just use
Better.
your financial calculator, and the balloon will be a lot smaller, which is great. And then are you good with that option? And then I can give you option 3. Is it okay?
Let's see. There's what I would suggest, Raymond. So take a screenshot of that. That's one of your offers.
Okay. Great.
All right. Well, what would be one of your other ones, Oliver, based on your stuff?
So yeah, so it's going to be 0%, or basically principal only payments, and it's going to be 2.979. So it's a smidge more than what their asking price is, but because it's 0%, the ultimate payout is going to be less, right? And you're going to be paying payment per month is $7,450, and you're going to get great cash on cash on either one of these, right?
Yeah. I would probably go more like I would make the payment higher here.
For some reason, it just gave me that on the Oliver.
No, I
If you know what I'm
understand. Yeah. So one of my offers will be something like this, because I want to give them a reason to say yes, right? And so one of the reasons they would say yes is that they're getting a higher payment. They're getting a higher purchase price, and they're getting a higher monthly payment.
Yeah. And you can do that because there's room. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then I might also do that down payment at 20%.
20% down.
Yeah.
For the 0%.
Yeah. So you can take a screenshot of this. That would be the 0% option.
Okay. 29. Okay. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Cool.
Great question, Raymond.
I think. Yeah, so I'll contact him. I'm setting up my website, I guess, and email and things weren't working properly, and I didn't want to contact him without first having that.
No, call anyway. Do not wait on websites. Do not wait on emails.
Raymond,
Yeah.
I don't have a website. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's nice to have one. But I did 2 years of wholesaling and never had a website. You don't need a website.
Okay. I was just because I was figuring he would probably want to send me some
Right.
documents, and
What
all I had was
what
an email.
what you're doing is you're reasonably concerned that you don't have the experience required to do this, and you're concerned that they will think that about you. Okay? Normal, super normal. We're going to jump right past that because you're going to say, I'm working with a group and we buy properties all over the country. Okay. And here's the offers I'm going to make on this property.
Okay.
Because you are a member of this group and we do buy properties all over the country. And we do have buyers, like they're sitting in this room right here.
Okay. Great. I'll call them in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Lindsay, what's up, brother?
So I got a question about RV parks. I think I asked this already, but how important is it with the free cash flow door and the monthly?
It's
cash
different. So with it, do you have numbers that you want to plug in here that I can show you?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it's 13 pads,
Mm-hmm.
448 a month average rent.
Yep. Yep.
5% vacancy, and the expense ratio is 38.
38. Love it. Okay. And purchase
The-
price?
He's wanting 375.
375. Okay. And what was your offer? Or what would your offer be?
I really haven't came up with that yet. I think it's
Okay,
gonna be
that's-
around, because I was looking at the cash on cash returns. It's 15 right now. So I was gonna go down.
15%.
Well, this is a bank test.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Your expense ratio, you can do 45? Okay.
No, this is an RV park, so I'd be lower.
You doing 35 for an RV
30.
park?
I'm taking his for now, 38.
Oh, 38.
Uh,
Got it. Okay.
38.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah, the bank test. Yeah, but the thing is, the problem with you with a RV park,
Mhm.
like the down payment is more like 50%. That's the problem, and they may
Okay.
not they don't amortize it for 20 years. Still, kind of works out. Comes pretty close. I mean, they're not crazy. And so back to your question of free cash flow per door.
Mhm.
I wouldn't stress free cash flow per door too much, being over 150 for a RV park. Because is this RV park you said?
Yeah, it's RV park.
Yeah, because I mean the it's more of a percentage. This would be better as a percentage. Like you want like 15 to 30% net cash flow from every dollar that you receive, right? So basically it's a margin number and not a absolute number. So 150 per door is kind of minimum for an apartment, but it's rented for 1,000, 1,500 bucks. For something that's running for 448, yeah, I'd be okay with $100.
Okay. What about the monthly free cash flow? It's close to 2,000, but
Yeah,
when
so again, that's a personal thing, right? Like, is it worth all this work to make 1,500 bucks? Like, you got to manage 13 people, you got to raise capital. Is it worth it? And that's a personal question. If you're new in the business and it's something you want to own, and somebody would help you come up with the capital, the down payment, and someone would want to work with you, then yeah, that might be worth it for you. Just know that you got to have room to pay anybody who's raising money for you.
Mhm.
Does that help?
Yeah. So another question is the assumable loan. Do I just put in his current interest rate and what he's wanting
Yep.
for the property?
Yep.
Okay. I think he said it was like 5%, 5.5 interest rate.
Yep.
Right now.
5.5, and you need to know like what his payment is. That's the big one.
Okay.
Like
Do I
you need to know.
just factor that in right there?
Yep.
Okay. That's it.
Cool. Is this one you would buy yourself, or would you try to wholesale it?
Wholesale. It's in Texas, like outside of Houston.
So hey Kathy, if you're still here, like we have like 3 properties for you to buy in Texas already.
Yeah, I see that. Yes.
Yeah.
We gotta sell mine first, man.
Yeah.
We gotta,
We better get busy selling the office park. Okay.
well, we gotta sell mine, so I need people to buy mine.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, there's always two, like in real estate, there's always two people, right? It's like there's always a buyer and a seller.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions, Lindsay?
You said it's usually 50% down with RV parks. Is that all RV parks or?
It depends on the local bank. Like, so I would, this is in Texas and Houston, I would call local banks and I would say, and these are like regional small banks, not the big boys, not Chase, not Wells Fargo, the local banks. And I would call around and say, hey, or do you finance RV parks? A lot of them would say no. If they say yes, I'm like, well, okay, cool. What is your going rate? Like, what are your terms? Down payment, length of term, prevailing interest rate, and they're usually pretty good about telling you.
Okay.
And then whatever they tell you, you can take an average of that and you plug it in here.
Okay.
And this does change. Like, Michael, you're actively looking for RV parks, right?
Yes.
For wholesale. Have you shopped banks in the Southeast or Texas to know what they would finance?
No, because I
Okay.
leave that up to the dispo team.
That's true. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Well, I'm low on battery.
We typically use an 8.5% rate just to run the numbers with.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, because you're right. I think the interest rate would be higher too, Lindsay. Like there'd be either a higher down payment or a higher interest rate, or both.
Even if it's assumable?
No. If it's assumable, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about if you were to get a new one. If an external buyer were to come in and finance it, then they would have to get market rates for RV park, which might be 8%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they're not quite as good as collateral as multifamily properties. Okay, folks.
On an assumable note, how does that
Go
work
ahead.
into the calculation? Like, if you can do you just work on putting the numbers in for financing the difference and just add the assumable amount in?
Exactly. Yeah. Because basically you're buying in part their financing. And so you may have to finance, like do a second behind it. And then you just need your payments. So I have about, I don't know how much time left because I'm about to lose my battery here. So I'm going to put a pin in it for now. If you are in the paid group, you have access to that calculator and you have access to the 90-day challenge, which we are doing our last session today. So if you're in the paid group, looking forward to seeing you later on in the 90-day challenge. If you're not in the paid group, then let me drop you the link because today is a session you're not going to want to miss.
When you say the pay group, is that not the deal partner?
The commercial deal finders.
That's at 12, right? Today?
Is it 12 Central Time? Yep, in about an hour. Yep.
Paul, can you hear me?
I can.
Hey, I'm thinking about joining the paid group.
I just dropped the link for you.
The only thing I'm trying to see right now is the CRM that comes with it, because that's kind of a little bit more important to me.
Okay.
I talk to your guys to see if I can get like a rundown of what a CRM looks like.
A demo?
Yeah. And they said there's no demo right now. And I said, okay, let's hop on a call and show me around what it looks like and stuff.
Okay.
You want me to show it right now? You tell me.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be perfect.
Sure.
I'm gonna stop. Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna go get my charger, okay? So you guys keep going.
Paul's team will do that. I had a call with somebody the other day.
Are we disconnecting for a few minutes and then coming back at 12?
Eventually we'll come back at 12. I mean, what he's doing is he's getting a new battery for his whatever device he's using because it was going to die. But I'm going to show real quick. We'll definitely, get back together at 12. But I'm going to show real quick the CRM that we've got, right? And so basically you've got on the dashboard. I don't use the dashboard as much for myself. I'm still getting used to it myself, but it gives you an idea of what's available for what you can click on. You click on these and it'll bring you into the reports that are generated for all this, right? And then there's conversations, and I can click on each one of these. One of the things I look at for contacts is I will look for last activity. Okay. So, and in fact, it must be conversations is what I'm doing because I'm not as familiar with this. But the last conversation, right? I can even play back because I record it. You have that choice of either recording or not. Now, I will say brokers, they'll get kind of skittish if they're not familiar with the fact that I am recording. Some of them have called back and then they hang up because of that. But it's a smaller amount. Most of them understand. But nonetheless, I'll look at the last activity.
Saying it's being recorded.
Yes, it says that. It says that for everybody, right? And in fact, every single conversation when I call, even if they've heard it before, they'll hear that and I'll say, "It's Oliver. Don't hang up." But it helps me to be able to listen to what we talked about and go over it again. So this is a list of all the active folks that have called me back, right? And so this kind of gives you an idea of where to concentrate on. And also on my app, it'll show certain ones that are shaded to say, this person called in, and I'll click on that to see what happened, see whether I've already covered it or not. And yeah, it's convenient that way. I do have also a spreadsheet, and it's got my leads. Forgive me, I don't want to share that, but it's the spreadsheet I keep because I keep hyperlinks to where Crexy is or wherever is the document information for that particular property. And I also have in that spreadsheet, I have the number of units, the address, the contact name and number and phone number of the broker, and then comments basically on the right side. So I use a combination of both this CRM, which allows for artificial intelligence that comes back and responds whenever I don't answer a call. It'll say, "Hey, I missed your call. So sorry. Is there some time that we can set up a time on my calendar?" And your calendar, you can see there are some appointments that are listed on my calendar that, basically allow me to not schedule times. Let's see if I've got, yeah, it won't schedule on top of anything that you're seeing here, right? Any questions?
Oliver, I got something to ask you. Where'd your leads come from?
I go to
market, or are these Crexy?
These are on market. These are all on market that I'm doing nowadays.
Okay, so when you
I kind of shied away
property, how do you get it into your CRM?
So if I've got a new person that I want to add, let's say, for example, they called me, I can click on this particular person, right? And then I can even, since I've got the recorded conversation, I can play it back and find out who it was I talked to, right? And I'll fill in the information for the name. And if they're a mobile phone, or even if it's a duplicate of the same name, right? In fact, you can't do a duplicate, but I put in the first name, let's say, and then later on I go to contacts and I look for, yeah, it doesn't let me do that. I look for both of them. I click on both of them, and then I do a merge, and it allows me to merge those two. I'll show you how it kind of looks.
So
right?
two listing agents. Two listing agents. Call
Yeah,
you.
for example, let's say an office phone number and a mobile phone number. I won't combine. It's a personal preference, but I won't combine two different names together because it gets confusing for me if I do that, because I'm storing this with thought of not a company name, but broker names, right?
Right.
That's my thought. That's my way. So what else, Paul, or anybody else?
Yeah, Paul, this is Keith Harris. I have a question. I mean, Oliver,
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
Where
right.
do you find that financial calculator? I'm kind of new.
Yeah.
Where is
I
that?
think it's the paid group. if I'm right, but basically this, wrong one. Let's see over here. Okay, so this one is this owner financing calculator. I think it's part of the paid group.
Now, when you say paid group, I paid for the yearly subscription. Is that considered paid group?
Yes, and I'll
Okay.
show you where that is. Let me do that right now. Okay, so community, and I'm just a student, by the way, guys. I'm not paid, so take my advice for what it is.
You're doing well. You could look like you're an instructor.
I try my best. Okay, and let's see. So it's going to be classroom.
Okay.
And then it's going to be working the numbers. Okay. And which is down, calculate the numbers. You go to here.
Okay.
And then you go down to owner financing calculator, right? And it's going to be that. I told you that fast.
Okay.
Let's go back. Yeah. So we went into the classroom. And by the way, if you have not taken the class, anybody, start here and go through all that. And I've learned everything practically that I know from Paul by listening to this stuff. And I highly recommend it. So click on 5-minute mastery and other calculating numbers.
Calculate the numbers. Okay.
Yep. And then owner financing.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Sure.
Thank you.
Next question. And Lindsay, by the way, I respect you and love what you've done before me. You inspired me to join the paid group. So I appreciate it, Lindsay. Thank you. Who's next? Prince, did you have another question? I see your hand up. Just want to make sure I don't ignore you, sir. Okay, any other questions? I'm not Paul, I know.
Well, it looks like Harvey and Prince have their hand raised.
Oliver, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
So I'm more concerned about the automations and stuff. I mean, where are all the automations and stuff at in the CRM?
Absolutely. Let me show you that. So if I remember correctly, because it's going to be John and Herbert that know more about this, but you can go and look at the automation flow of what is happening. I'll give you an example of what they created because I asked for this at one time. If I create an LOI and then I populate this field that's called LOI date sent or something like that, it'll go through and look through all the contacts. And so it'll look for date when LOI was sent, okay, is changed. And then it'll go down to condition, okay. And then let's see, I'm just not as familiar with all this, forgive me.
Yeah,
But,
John will help you set this up, guys.
Yes, yeah, John will do this. But basically you can, if you're into programming and block programming, you can do this and create your own stuff, build your own stuff. It's really intensive. It's great. So if you're familiar with how to do that, and I don't think it's too hard to do if I really took the time to do this, but you know what? I'm not getting distracted by this. I tell someone, John, hey, John, can you do this for me? And if he does it, great. And if he doesn't, I'm still putting out offers. Right, Paul?
And don't forget about that tech call on Thursdays, I think it is.
That's right. Tech call on Thursdays at
That's where you
2
want to
o'clock
be if you
Central.
want to learn the CRM.
Yeah. 2 o'clock Central, something like that. Paul, I'm taking over here. Sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Oliver. Thank you.
Sure, Prince, no problem.
Tell you.
All right, who else? Who's next?
He said he's getting hit by thunderstorms. So
Yeah, so real quick announcement. So in about 45 minutes, I plan on having a call, provided I have power. And I can't see outside. It's so dark and raining so much. So it's and the lights have flickered a few times. So
that's our Kansas for you.
Yep. If I disappear, then I have
Florida's
lost power.
the same way.
Did they get hit with tornadoes there?
Yeah.
What city?
Little Rock.
Wow.
So if you see that Little Rock's been blown off the map, then it's been nice knowing you.
Hey, real quick, I just got two questions here on the calendar. What is the live workshop tomorrow? And there's passive investor thing tomorrow. What are those? Passive Investor Club.
The Passive Investor Club is a call that I do every Sunday or most every Sunday where I talk about what you can do if you have cash, have capital in an IRA, and you're looking to invest as a passive investor and not looking for your own deals. So that's that side of things, because
So-
we have our own deals, right? And we have people here that have deals that want to raise capital, and so we're building our list of buyers or investors using that spread or that passive. It's useful to come and listen to it just to see what I talk about if you want to come, but there's nothing, I'm not teaching you how to go out and find passive investors. I'm talking to passive investors.
So I can listen even if I'm not a
Oh, yeah.
passive investor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the 2 p.m. live workshop, what is that?
That's where I'll be talking about our AI passive income challenge. And I'll be going through at a high level what Oliver just went over.
Yeah. So that the 2 p.m. is for people who aren't in the group already, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, you can attend if you want, but you're on the inside and you're on the inner circle right now, so you don't need to go to that if you don't want.
Got it. Okay. I was mainly interested. Well, I was interested in that, but also the passive investor thing that you have up there. So, okay. Thank you. That's all I wanted.
And Harvey, if you look at those meetings on the calendar, they have like little icons that tells you whether or not they're for open people or people already, in the program.
Okay. Thank you.
Great questions. Great session today. I think this is probably a good place to put a pin in it. We'll we'll adjourn here, and then for those of you who are joining the 90-day challenge, our last session, I'll see you in about 45 minutes.
Hey, Paul,
Thank
when
you so
does
much,
the
Paul.
next one start?
Say again?
When does the next 90-day challenge start? Is that like May?
I haven't decided yet.
Oh, okay. So you haven't created it?
No.
Okay. All right. I'll
You
stay
bet.
tuned because I think I want to redo the beginning part.
Well, they're all recorded, so you can do them again.
All right. Yeah, but
Yeah.
live is a little bit better when you can ask questions.
You can ask some questions. Yeah, I totally get it.
Cool. All right.
You bet.
See you in a little bit.